All right, y'all, welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about today. So in just a second, Trump threw a deranged Easter tantrum. I'll break that down for you. Then we'll get to a tariff expert issued a dire warning for America that I want to share with you. To say that we are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle is perhaps the understatement of the century. So you're not going to want to miss that. We'll also talk about how MAGA is now kind of openly supporting the idea of sending Americans to the El Salvador concentration camp. I mean, this has gotten way out of hand. Joe Rogan seemingly finds his balls and criticizes Trump, at least mildly. And then we'll get to Trump's Gestapo is now disappearing American teens. It doesn't get any darker than that. China has effectively already won the trade war. We have another piece from an economist who has a brutal dose of reality for Trump and where we are right now. And then also, rebellion is officially hitting the Democratic Party in the best possible way. And there's currently a massive purge going on at the Pentagon. The Pentagon is effectively collapsing. It's in full meltdown mode because it's being led by an alcoholic abuser, far-right extremist, weekend TV host, Pete Hegseth. So, a lot to say about all that. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you absolutely nothing at all. And of course, much love. In fact, we may say extra love for those of you who support the show on Patreon or subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack or tip on YouTube. Very, very thankful, man. This is real independent media. We couldn't do it without you guys. Small dollar donations, $2 per month at a time, $5 per month at a time. It really keeps this show going. And I'm proud to say we are one of the few voices in this space that has actually stayed true to their principles and never had a conversation with an advertiser or a billionaire or anything like that. So again, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it, y'all. So yesterday was Easter. You know, I should bring up, I'm burying like the biggest news of the day. I just found out this morning when I woke up. But apparently, Pope Francis just passed away. Now, that's actually genuinely and sincerely super duper sad because in my lifetime, most of the popes, if not all of the popes, have been pretty fucking right-wing and have pretty, like, against the core message and philosophy of Jesus Christ. And then we got this pope, and he shocked me in multiple ways, right? Now, he wasn't perfect, of course, but he said some, things you would never hear from any other Catholic leader on gay rights, for example. He was very clearly anti-war. He was actually a critic of capitalism, too, which, again, I certainly have never seen anything like this from a pope in my lifetime. So he was by far and away the best pope of my lifetime. Seemed like an actually good guy. And the cherry on top of this conversation is, so he passed away. He had been sick recently, but it looked like he was getting better. Yesterday on Easter, he met with a lot of people. One of those people that met with him was J.D. Vance. Now, he's had a lot of issues with J.D. Vance and with the Trump administration more generally. In fact, the Pope the day before had sent his deputy to go meet with J.D. Vance to lecture him on compassion. So I was like a massive snub of the U.S. vice president. Now, I guess the next day or whatever, they did actually meet. And then I kid you not, hours later, he passed away. So many people, I mean, the jokes write themselves, right? Like he literally met the Antichrist in J.D. Vance and then he gave up and tapped out. I mean, Twitter is having a fucking field day with the idea that J.D. Vance effectively killed the Pope here. So, but definitely rest in peace to this dude, best pope in my lifetime. And buckle up, y'all, because my guess is that the next pope is going to be a fascist. And I mean that outright, like a straight up goose-stepping ass, Zig Heilen, Elon Musk style fascist. For those of you who don't know, I mean, the history on this is kind of interesting, but there were elements of the Catholic Church that literally sided with Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler. So that shows you it's not like they truly are above reproach and they're truly holy and, they're for all the right things. No, these are flawed human beings and there's a hierarchy in there and there's an ideology and Pope Francis was able to, push back against it in many ways. But I guarantee you the next guy is not going to be rocking the boat. In the age of the rise of the far right and Trumpism and MAGA, you're going to have somebody, I'm telling you, a pope who's goose-stepping, dog. That's what's coming. So that's quite unfortunate. So, but all right, now let's get to Trump. So Trump released an Easter message yesterday, and I'm just so taken aback by how used to this we've all become, right? Like, he's so insane. We expect him to be insane. We expect him to be incompetent and irrational and corrupt. He is graded on a curve unlike any other president in my lifetime. I mean, he gets so much fucking leeway because people just, shrug and go, that's Trump. What are you going to do? This is who he is. But again, just like, let's try to be objective for a split second here. So he posted an Easter message. Let me walk you through it. Ready? He said this. Happy Easter to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting and scheming so hard to bring murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, and mentally insane and well-known MS-13 gang members and wife beaters back into our country. Let me just pause on that. In the midst of a massive scandal about how the Trump administration is sending completely and utterly innocent people with no criminal record to a slave labor camp in El Salvador, this is quite the thing to say. It's not like we don't know about these people. We do know about these people, and they're not what Trump is saying they are. In fact, they've been on a lie fest for the past few days. Trump was holding up a picture of Kilmar Abrego Garcia saying he has MS-13 gang tattoos on his knuckles. It wasn't MS-13 gang tattoos. They literally put over the top of the picture of the tattoos on the hand, they wrote MS-13. And then they go, see, he's part of MS-13. It says it right on his knuckles. You wrote that. It was the most obvious Photoshop job in human history. So they're lying, they're smearing, they're defaming. This guy certainly has a case to go after these guys. And in the midst of all that, this is what he says. I mean, like I pointed out, he is the first postmodernist president of my lifetime. He is a right-wing postmodernist. For those of you who don't know, what that means is he doesn't live in objective reality. He doesn't believe in the Enlightenment and empiricism. He makes up my truth, his truth, and runs with it, right? And he tries to clonk you over the head day in and day out with his propaganda to try to shape reality around what he wants it to be. That's what this is. This is a fucking Easter message, dog. You know what a normal Easter message is from a president? Go read literally any of Obama's Easter messages. It talks about he is risen and this is the, during this time of year, we should believe in the spirit of love and Jesus' philosophy and yada. And here's this guy the radical left lunatics are destroying this country, but I say happy Easter to them anyway because I'm so amazing, but they want drug lords and they want murderers and they want rapists in this country and they're going to steal your daughter. Jesus Christ. Happy Easter also to the weak and ineffective judges and law enforcement officials who are allowing this sinister attack on our nation to continue. An attack so violent that it will never be forgotten. Sleepy Joe Biden purposely allowed millions of criminals to enter our country, totally unvetted and unchecked, through an open border policy that will go down in history as the single most calamitous act ever perpetrated upon America. He was by far our worst and most incompetent president, a man who had absolutely no idea what he was doing. Let me pause. We just talked about this the other day in relation to the PBD podcast and when Sam Cedar was debating them. I pulled up the numbers, and you guys all know this. You're like the only audience in the world that knows this. Who deported more people, Trump in his first term or Biden in his term? Take a wild guess. The answer is Joe Biden. Joe Biden deported, actually it was double the number of people that Trump deported. And how does Trump frame that? Joe Biden had open borders. That's what he had. He had open borders. Do you have any idea how disingenuous that is? And honestly, I got to keep it real with you guys. I'm sort of pissed at the media that they don't repeat that fact all the time. Because the notion that the Democratic Party is for open borders is so beyond comical. The fact of the matter is, the Democrats on the issue of the border are like old school Republicans. And the Republicans on the issue of the border today are like bloodthirsty, frothing at the mouth fascists. So both parties are pretty conservative on the border. It's just that he's so insanely far right on the border that he wants to round up innocent people and send them to a slave labor concentration camp in El Salvador. All right, they continue. But to him, talking about Biden, and to the person that ran and manipulated the auto pen, perhaps our real president, and to all the people who cheated in the 2020 presidential election in order to get this highly destructive moron elected, I wish you, with great love, sincerity, and affection, a very happy Easter. Dog, you are damn near 80 years old. This man is damn near 80 years old. He acts like a petulant, spurned high school lover. Listen to what he's saying. And he can't shut the fuck up about the 2020 election. Even though we know he's wrong, even though we know he lost, he comes out and he repeats it and Fox News had to pay $787 million for doing the election denialism because they were sued by a voting machine company and it went to court and they realized, well, we're going to lose this case. We better give him some money so we can get out of here. right? And that's what happened. They knew they were wrong. They knew they would lose the case, so they paid a bunch of fucking money. And here he is, the president of the United States, continuing to spread the lie that he won the election in 2020. In fact, the reality of the situation, which almost nobody will tell you, as Greg Palast has showed us, is that we have official data which proves that Kamala Harris was screwed out of over 3.5 million votes because of ballot purging and ballot spoiling and things of that nature, old Jim Crow rules that the conservative states were using and many other states were using, which they're trying to bring federal now. And so the 2024 outcome is perhaps not what everybody seems to think it is. But he definitely lost in 2020, and this is the sort of fucking shit he's saying. Again, guys, look, it might seem like a nothing story compared to everything else, but the fact of the matter is, what do you think it does to a country when its president is like this? And like, for example, all of the kids who are growing up in this generation, right? And they see, like, this is what the president says on Easter. He goes through a list of his personal petty grievances, which are based on complete and utter horse shit, where there's no connection to reality. And he's like smearing 50% of the country and lying about the previous president. Like, do you not understand that this is unhinged? In fact, that's really my takeaway in this segment here is that, look, man, I'm convinced that he actually has a problem, right? And for so long, it's just, oh, that's Trump being Trump, whatever. No, he's damn near 80 years old now. He's slipping mentally. I really think he's a guy, sort of like with Elon Musk, how a bunch of psychologists came out and said, this guy he's in a hypomanic state, or he's in a hypomanic state, so he gets no sleep, he's not really connected to reality, showing symptoms of like bipolar 1 type stuff. I kind of think Trump is there too. I really think he's there too. When you read something like this, it's like, this is not a normal thing. Like, who would do this? Nobody would fucking do it. You're president of the United States of America. This is the shit you're saying? On Easter? So, the decline continues. Don't worry, though. Steady ship ahead, right? It's going to smooth sailing because this is the guy who's leading, for example, the tariff negotiations. Sure, the economy is in great hands. By the way, as I'm talking to you right now, guess what? The economy, yet again, plummeting, falling off a cliff. Just absolutely, line goes straight down, dog. Gold is at a record high, which is an indicator of a depression coming. A depression. This is where we are. This is where we are. So, just wish I had more wise words to cheer everybody up here, but I'm in the same boat you are, bro. We're just trying to deal with the fallout of this insanity. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.